Hey Sanya, do you want to play some video games?
Sure. Dude, look at these characters, especially the girls who wears a bikini to battle. That's just unrealistic.
I know, right? I wonder why they're like this.
The reasoning behind this is that most female characters are influenced by the trope damsel in distress. The term damsel in distress stems from the French saying demoiselle en détresse, where demoiselle simply means young lady and détresse means despair and a sense of helplessness or danger. This trope essentially highlights a situation where a female character is placed in a perilous situation in which she can't escape herself and must rely on being rescued by a male character, often done via kidnapping. The trope damsel in distress is very damaging to women because it makes men the subject of the narrative, leaving women to just play the role of the object, essentially reduced to being a prize to be won, a treasure to be found, or a goal to be achieved. And at the beginning of most games, especially in the 80s, it reinforced that, with many opening sequences portraying women as possessions being stolen from the protagonist.
Dude, what's happening?
Dude, where are we?
Wait, I think we're in Super Mario Bros.
Are you serious? This is all your fault.
Sorry, I didn't mean it. I didn't even know I was a wizard.
Is that Peach? Princess Peach? Princess Peach is getting kidnapped. Are we gonna help her?
Relax.
The reason why Zara wasn't so alarmed by Princess Peach getting kidnapped is that Nintendo has been using this trope for a very, very long time. It all started in 1981. Nintendo was looking to accomplish formulating a game that could be introduced into the West, so they trusted Shigeru Miyamoto to take on the task. The plan was to create a game featuring Popeye the Sailor. However, things didn't go as planned since they were not able to secure the rights to do so. So this pushed Miyamoto to design a new game that was inspired by the movie King Kong. The birth of the game Jumpman, where the player must beat Donkey Kong and rescue the damsel named the Lady. Zara was especially not alarmed by Princess Peach getting kidnapped is that ever since 1985, where Princess Peach was revealed in the Super Mario Bros. The Great Mission to Save Princess Peach, she has been seen in 14 other Super Mario games. And out of that 14, she has been kidnapped 13 times.
We need to get out of here now.
Why? Oh, we're women!
Hurry!
Okay, I think we're good. We're in Metroid now.
Hey, maybe that transformer thing can help us.
That's not a transformer.
Yes, the character that Sanya mistook for a transformer is indeed the first female playable character. Her name is Samus Aran, and she is from the game Metroid, which was released in 1986. However, her gender didn't really play a role in anything. A matter of fact, she was marketed in the first Metroid as a male character. It wasn't until the final sequence that her identity as a woman was revealed. And if characters completed the game fast enough, she would remove her armor and she would be found in a bikini or a leotard.
She's getting Let's get out of here now. We're in Legend of Zelda. I love this game.
We gotta get out of here.
But before Zara and Sanya blast out of the Legends of Zelda, it's important to know that the renowned franchise that has spanned over for a quarter century, loved by all, has a major flaw in each and every version up until today. Princess Zelda has been kidnapped, possessed, cursed, or turned to stone.
Now we're in Mario again? But something's different.
You're right, and I'll tell you why.
Sanya's instincts were correct. The major difference between this Super Mario and the Super Mario released earlier in the decade is that Super Mario 2 is the only major platforming game in which Peach is not kidnapped, and is the only game where she is a playable character. Everything sounds great, right? However, this was not created to be a Super Mario game. This game was originally released in Japan under a completely different title, which translates to Dream Factory Heart-Pounding Panic. Due to Nintendo America claiming that the original Super Mario 2 was too difficult and too similar to the first, they decided to completely redesign Dream Factory Heart-Pounding Panic. However, this game starred 4 playable characters, so by default, Peach and Toad were added. Nintendo in the 80s greatly popularized the trope of damsel in distress, and quickly became the go-to hook for gaming developers, as it was an easy way to market to a straight adolescent male audience with power fantasies.
You know, I did see some improvement. It's okay, but I think I want to leave.
Whoa! The graphics here are so much better!
A mosquito? That must mean we're in the 1996 game Tomb Raider.
Oh my god, who is that?
That's Lara Croft.
Who?
You don't know who Lara Croft is?
No, I don't.
Lara Croft's arrival in the 1990s established what is now regarded as one of the first powerful female characters, not just in video games, but in all media. However, Croft is depicted in tight pants and midriff-bearing tops, and people asserted that this meant that the focus was not on her strength, rather her sexuality. Additionally, there are complaints about the character's disproportionately huge breasts. Those supposedly began as a joke within her designer's workplace, but were approved due to the majority of Lara Croft's series' gaming audience being male. She could not have been the star of a video game franchise if she was less seductive.
That's horrible. Why was that the case?
Well, creating a franchise centered on a female protagonist is viewed as a risk. In an unpublished study shared with the gaming website Penny Arcade in 2012, the video game research company EDAR discovered that only 3.6% of nearly 700 games it surveyed had playable characters that were exclusively female. That is, female characters that could not be swapped out for a male avatar. According to the study, games featuring male-only playable characters sold better than those with female characters.
Oh, so Lara Croft is really complex.
Yes, exactly. She is strong, yet under the male gaze, she's reduced to nothing but a sexualized object for men to ogle at.
Miss, over here, can you help us out?
I don't think she can hear us. Let's just leave.
Ooh, I like the music here. Oh my god, stop the music!
What?
Look over there!
That woman's getting beat up!
But she deserves it. She's a stripper.
Why are men like this?
You know, that actually has a lot to do with men and their psychology when it comes to playing video games.
Tell me more.
Laura Mulvey, a British feminist film theorist, used a strong Freudian psychoanalytical correlation to make her argument that male-dominated viewpoints are deeply entangled with the visual and anthropomorphic components of film storytelling, as well as the capitalist need of high production values, in her famous 1975 essay, Visual Pleasure and Narrative Cinema. This is a phenomenon prevalent in video games as well. Mulvey uses Freud's concept of scopophilia to explain the collective fascination with the human form. Scopophilia is an aesthetic pleasure derived from the sight of an object or a person. Humans frequently experience erogenous pleasure through looking. The male gaze is the most common category of sight in film and media theory. As a result, it is also important to recognize that unlike many other art forms such as film, where a movie can play without an audience, video games are unique. The essence of games is that the user must press the play button and actively engage with what is displayed on their screen. Thus, people will mimic what they see in real life, such as crimes, gun violence, and sexual assault, in video games simply because they can. This gives the player pleasure, even if others would consider it immoral, because the alleged victim is virtual and not real. This for many means it has no real-world consequences, even if that is not the case.
That's really interesting, but how does it relate to Grand Theft Auto?
Well, I'd have to discuss sociology too, because as you see, everything goes hand in hand. There's a clear hierarchy among characters in video games. Male characters are always preferred by both game developers and users. In most video games, females in particular are often portrayed as hypersexual, submissive, and unintelligent. Sexualizing women in video games is how these companies make more profits. For instance, take a look at the covers of the GTA games. A lot of them depict women in bikinis or being strippers at a club. However, these women aren't even the central characters, and they only exist to arouse the male players. This alone clearly demonstrates how little society cares about giving women any substance or depth. Furthermore, it's critical to discuss the norms, values, and rules that apply to women in video games. Karen E. Dill and K.P. Thill identified 3 key stereotypical representations of women in video games in their 2005 study. 1. They're always sexualized. 2. They're usually scantily clad. And 3. They're a vision of beauty. All 3 of which we see in GTA. Did you know that in one of the games, players are urged to have a male protagonist grope a female dancer repeatedly until a bouncer catches him? Despite this, the Grand Theft Auto franchise continues to enjoy cult status. Currently, 11 standalone games and 4 expansion packs are available, with hundreds of millions of copies sold.
While staying in GTA and understanding how sociology and psychology play a role in video games, Zara and Sania were blasted to the 2000s.
Oh my god, she's familiar. I've seen her before.
Who is that?
That's Crystal from Dinosaur Planet.
What's Dinosaur Planet?
It's a game that never got released, so I wonder why she's here.
Most of you watching this, which I don't blame you, haven't heard of Dinosaur Planet because, like I said, it was not released. But I'm pretty sure you guys know the main character associated with Crystal. Star Fox, a beloved Nintendo character, considered one of the classics. So let's go into the history of it. In the early 2000s, a developer that goes by the name Rare was diligently working on an original title for the Nintendo 64 that was going to be titled Dinosaur Planet. The game would have had a playable female character named Crystal. Throughout the game, she would have been tasked to fight various prehistoric monsters with her magical staff. The world needed her strength, ability, and courage to save it. However, this game didn't get a chance to see the light of day.
Wish that game would have got released. She was such a cool character.
I know, right?
Whoa, what's happening?
Oh my god!
Where are we? You didn't press the button, did you?
No, I didn't. Star Fox Adventures featuring Crystal.
What? Featuring? Isn't this her game?
The well-known game designer mentioned before, Shigeru Miyamoto, jokingly said that this game should be a part of his franchise, Star Fox. And Nintendo listened and did just that for the next 2 years, where they combined both the games. However, they decreased Crystal's character to a mere motive for Star Fox's journey. In the process, they hypersexualized her character, making her curvier, and converted all her in-game fighting sequences to feature Star Fox instead, thus leading up to the re-release of the revamped version of Dinosaur Planet to be called Star Fox Adventures.
Wow, she's beautiful. What am I doing?
Zara and Sania quickly brushed over the late 2000s, and here's a quick summary of what they saw. In the latter half of the 2000s, first-person shooter games and story-based games became way more popular, as well as a slow incline in playable female characters were seen. This is due to an increase of interest for women in video games, as well as heightened criticism at the industry's heightened male hegemony. The sexualization of female protagonists of their own games did see a decline, however, but women in supporting roles did not. Researchers state that the non-primary female characters are said to be less central to the story, and consequently, they are designed hypersexualized to increase their appeal. This derives from the belief that the main purpose of these female side characters is solely for sexual arousal. However, their female protagonist counterparts have more to offer, since she is the center of the narrative. And being the center of the narrative gives her value beyond her physical appearance. At this time, male-led video games still greatly outnumbered female ones, and the sexualization of female characters was far from over.
Oh my god, what am I wearing?
What
Sanya.
You know what? I think we're in one of those 2010 Barbie dress-up games. Like the ones we used to play as kids.
That's true, they're fun.
Yeah, but they're a lot more sinister than you think.
Girls are taught from an early age that they must alter their appearance in order to be recognized as beautiful in today's society. Thus, by instilling insecurities in consumers through the media, companies can convince them to purchase additional things, whether that be makeup, new clothes, or even cosmetic procedures, in order to meet the ideal standard of beauty that is universally demanded of modern women everywhere. This is exacerbated further by games aimed towards young girls in particular, like dress-up games for instance, that teach young girls to strive to the model's unattainable proportions and even her excessive wardrobe.
Oh my gosh, let's get out of here. This outfit is tight as heck. Whoa, this place looks pretty recent.
Yeah, I think it's the 2015 game Quiet.
2015? Hopefully by then we'd have more positive women characters.
You know, I think that too, but honestly, that isn't quite the case.
Quiet is a fictional character who first appeared in Konami's Metal Gear series in 2015. Quiet is a mercenary assassin in this game who only wears thin undergarments, transparent leggings, and some light combat gear for the majority of the game. Her design has been heavily criticized as a result of her hypersexual appearance. Her lack of clothing, according to her creator, is due to her supernatural abilities, which he claimed would conflict with a modest outfit. This explanation, however, is not well supported by other misogynistic depictions that appear throughout the game. Quiet, as her name suggests, has only one scene in the entire game where she speaks for a very short period of time. Meanwhile, her other appearances are usually focused on her body, such as a torture scene in which she is electrocuted in her upper chest while the camera focuses in on her cleavage. A drawn-out scene in which she strips to crawl and roll around in the rain. And a rape scene in which she is choked and held underwater by a man. Quiet is yet another example of the cliche of women only existing to please the male gaze.
Aw, that sucks. You would think by 2015 we'd at least have a good female character.
Yeah. You know, I actually do want to show you something. Let me have this.
Oh my god, where are we? Are we in some sort of type of battlefield? What?
Battlefield 1. It's the name of the 2016 game starring Zara.
Oh my god, like me, I knew all Zaras were cool. Anyways.
Know that there's a chance the men may not come. You may set off those explosives and find you're out there all alone. You know that.
I guess I won't know either way until I set it off.
Battlefield 1 follows an Arab Bedouin fighter named Zara Gufran as she seeks vengeance against the Ottomans who bombed her community. She's the protagonist and she's super cool.
Come on, I'll show you more strong female characters that came out in the recent years.
Oh my god!
Meet Tracer. She's from the 2016 game Overwatch. She's a huge symbol for the LGBTQ+ community.
Tracer was the first confirmed gay character in the Overwatch roster, as well as one of the first queer characters to appear in a popular online shooting game. Tracer was on the verge of becoming another Lara Croft, a woman of untamed potential turned into a sex object for commercial purposes. Luckily, thanks to fans voicing their opposition, Tracer has become a symbol of both Overwatch and LGBTQ rights instead, paving the way for better representation. See, it isn't all bad.
Wait, Sanya, do you hear that?
Yeah, what is that?
Whoa! Oh my god, are we back?
I think we are.
Oh my god!
Super Smash Bros. Is still on the screen.
Super Smash Bros. Is not the only game that can help Zara and Sanya realize that they're back in their time period. The Last of Us 2 was released in 2020. The Last of Us is an action-adventure game set in a post-apocalyptic world, in which a deadly virus had turned most of the population into violent, mindless zombies. The main protagonist is a young girl named Ellie, and she is immune to the virus. The game follows her as she meets other people and creates relationships, as well as how it might be to live in a world where zombies roam free. This was the second installment to the franchise and was heavily awaited. The first game came out in 2013 and was extremely well received, as it sold 1.3 million copies in the first week. So this is most definitely long awaited for the fans of this game. The character design of Ellie is extremely realistic and not sexualized. There's also LGBTQ plus representation, as Ellie not only embarks on a journey to find safety, but as well as a journey to discover her own sexuality. The next game is Genshin Impact, which is an action role-playing game that was released in 2020 by Chinese developer MiHoYo. The game has an open-world anime-styled landscape and an action-based fighting system with elemental magic and character change. The initial storyline follows a traveler who has traveled across countless worlds with their twin. However, something happens, separating the two. The game starts off as you choosing which twin you want to be, either the girl or the boy. This allows for the main character to potentially be a woman. There are countless different women characters in the game that come in all shapes and sizes.
That was crazy, wasn't it?
For sure, I definitely learned a lot about females over the years in video games.
Me too. Let's reminisce.
Women in video games have come a long way, haven't they?
To think it all started with the damsel in distress trope, Peach and Zelda getting continuously kidnapped, Lara Croft having unrealistic proportions, violence against women in video games like GTA. It's crazy.
Don't forget about Crystal losing out on an entire game to her male counterpart, and so much more.
It's important to recognize the media that we as a society consume. These tropes and over-sexualization of female characters has gone on for far too long.
You're right, we won't see significant change until we have more women in creative design offices and the video game industry as a whole is more equal.
Yes, young girls especially need strong female role models they look up to. We are slowly working towards that change, and we can see that positive effect in games released recently.
Are you sure we're not in a game?